Okay, now we're going to get into some engine fun. As you can see, I've got the VTwin pretty well partially disassembled. I've got the heads off, I've got the intake off. What I'm planning on doing is getting rid of this. We're going to get a billet flywheel to put on there. We're going to get some billet rods to put in it. I'm going to go ahead and run the factory pistons. At least that's what I was thinking, until I came across a few problems, which, you know, I left some room in the budget just for if I have anything that I would run into that I wasn't expecting. And that looks like it may be the case. And what I'm talking about, when I pulled this head off, when I had this engine running, it did smoke. But when I revved it up, the smoke went away. So I just hoped that maybe it was just oil that got into the exhaust system or something that would cause it to smoke. But what I found out, I don't know if you can see these gashes. There's 1, 2, 3, and them I can actually catch it with my fingernail. That, and then the wear lip here, there's about roughly 5 thousandths wear down here, and up top there's none. I mean, it's just smooth as can be up here. On this side, it's actually a lot better. Actually, I've got a little bit of rust, but that's probably because the motor's been sitting for almost a year. It says standard stamped on the pistons. As you can see, you might be able to see it right there. STD, not sexually transmitted diseases, but standard. It does have the governor. That's going to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to run to a buddy's house tomorrow and see how much he'll charge me to bore this 20 over, and I'm hoping 20 will clean it up. I'm pretty sure it will. So it looks like this is going to get 20 over pistons. It's going to get new billet rods, new billet flywheel. I'm going to have a buddy going to redo the cam for me. It's not going to be a big aggressive cam. It's just going to be something that's just going to give me a little more power. It'll probably still have the stock duration, but it'll just have slightly more lift. The heads, they look pretty good. I mean, definitely due for a valve job. I'm going to take these to work, hit them on the sandblasting cabinet. Same with the whole engine. We'll get the engine all cleaned up, looking all pretty again. That intake, my God, that thing needs scrubbed. But all in all, it looks pretty good. Kind of what I expected. So, another thing that I came across, which kind of puzzled me, but after talking to my dad, I guess he is kind of right. The piston pop-up is just before it hits the deck height, which would be 0 deck height. This side, this piston has 17 thousandths to go before it meets the top of the deck. On this side, when I measured it, right to there, it's actually 8 thousandths. So that kind of tells you right there the quality control that they have when they build these engines in mass quantities, that they don't exactly get them exactly perfect, which that could just be because they milled a little less on this side, a little more on that side, or something. So, but what we'll do is we'll get this all trued up. First I'll get it all the rest tore down, and then start taking the rods out, checking the rods, which I don't really care about the rods. I'm going to pitch them anyway, that and the pistons now. But we'll get it all cleaned up, and then hopefully in the next video I'll have some goodies in there that we can start putting in and get her bored out, get the heads cleaned up. Another thing I'm going to run from the factory, they come with aluminum push rods for the intake, steel rods for the exhaust. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to run steel push rods all the way through on the intake and the exhaust. I'm also going to order from eccarburetors.com a dual springs, valve springs, and I was told that, you know, this is going to be pretty much a mild engine. It's not going to be fully built. It's maybe going to put out maybe 30, 35 horsepower. They said that you won't really need the inner spring, but to run the outer spring, and then buy the billet tops there, the billet retainers and all that fun stuff. So that's what planned for this motor. Now I've got the other engine. This is the pressure lubed engine. I've still yet to get tore into this one. When I had this engine running last year, it actually had a bad knock in it. That's why the rod's gone, because the rod was just bad. So, which is kind of shocked me, because this is a pressure lubed engine. But this one's going to get the AVS pistons, the billet rods. I've already got a flywheel. We're going to play with the valves for a little bit. My buddy's also going to do the cam in this. This crank, I may have it stroked by about 15 thousandths, just like that engine up there. But the problem with this one, I may get into the cam, and that would require a lot of grinding on the cam. And then these cams you really don't want to grind too much on the cam, because there is a hole in the center. There's not much meat to grind. So I was advised to run a solid cam and figure out some way of getting oil up to the top of the cam. And I've had a couple of guys tell me a couple secrets that I can't really tell you guys. So that's just probably something you guys will have to figure out. You know, kind of learn, research on your own. Kind of like what I do. I just research the crap out of it, do my homework. So here in the next couple of days, we'll start getting this one tore apart. I'll probably make a video on this one just to show you and give you an update to where that's standing at so far. But until then, I'm going to get this finished. I'm going to pull the flywheel, the starter, the dipstick, and we'll start tearing this apart some more and get down to the nitty gritty and start getting parts to go where they need to go, and get the crank off over to crank shop, take the cam out, take it to my buddy's house, take the whole engine over and get her sandblasted and get it all cleaned up, and we'll go from there. That's what I got so far, so thanks for watching, guys.